Alright, hello everyone. Welcome to the stream. I am Adam. I'm one of the engine support techs at Epic. Just kind of doing the stream to help out where I can when I'm off clock. Alright, now that introductions are over, for those of you who haven't been here before, let's get on. So, we do have a couple of questions that, or at least one question that has come in, and one that may be coming in, depending on if TK4 is able to make it tonight. He said he's got something, and James said he's got something, so hopefully we'll hear from them tonight. I did go ahead and get TK4's test bed up so I could test that, but that is not what we're going to be working on first. First, I have some fun stuff for you. For those of you who don't remember, this is one of the things we made, which was just a simple go along the X value, gets the mouse position, and scales objects accordingly. Not what we're going to be working on. We are going to be opening a... No, we're not. We're going to just delete... or let's just unhook these. It'll be easier this way. Oh wait, that we need. Do need that. Yeah. So, I was messing around today, had a bit of a lull, and I came up with a interesting idea, or at least I hope it's interesting. If not, well, I tried. Move that out of there, that way we don't lose it. I'm going to take this and pull it back so that we can see a little bit more of the space. So, what I decided to mess with today was dynamic material instances. Because, frankly, I don't know much about materials in general. So I decided, hey, let's make a dynamic material instance. We're going to call this dynamic material. Now there's one big difference between dynamic materials and what I call, I don't know what the actual technical term is, but static materials. Static being that they never change. Static materials, as you can see, use stuff like this, like a regular constant 3-vector. Hey TK4, welcome to the stream. However, dynamic materials use parameters, and what parameters allow you to do. So let's go ahead and we'll name this one base color. Parameters allow you to actually access this information and change it at runtime. So we're going to plug that in, and we're going to start off with a kind of, white for what we're doing. And we don't really need a metallic, we don't really need a roughness for what we're going to be doing. Yeah, it kind of looks like a marble. Yeah, that'll work. Okay. This is all our material is going to have, because we don't really need much else. And actually, I'm going to bump this up to 1.5, 1.5, 1.5. And the reason I'm pumping it up a little bit is so that it gives it a slightly emissive quality. And actually, I'm going to plug that in the emissive color. There we go. Because we're going to make a Lightbright. Or at least, something kind of sort of similar. Okay. So this is our dynamic material. Like I said, one parameter, all we're going to be messing with. Don't need to mess with anything else. Bloop. Now, the key to dynamic materials and stuff like that is instances. What's cool about this, so let's say I have this mesh here, right? So I could go in and be like, okay, you now have this, but that gives me absolutely no control over what's going on. Now, if I do this, create material instance, and apply that, check this out. So now if I go in here, you'll see it's just our material. It has our parent right there, but we have the vector parameter that we made, base color. You can click that, and without having to actually apply any changes to this, which means there's no compilation, because all the compilation happens in the parent material, I can change this value without having to change the parent material. I can just literally go in and be like, I want this. And I can give you actually another example where, let's break these up. So let's make two more parameters. And of course I'm using rendering words, but don't really know half of the words that you're supposed to use. So let's say we wanted to be able to change this, right? So now we apply that. And if we look in here, now, without having to change anything else, I can change the metallic. I can change how rough it is, and the color. And it took 30 seconds, maybe. And what's even better about this is I can go, okay, well, I don't want these two to be the same. So I go, okay, create a second material instance. And let's say we wanted this one to be, I don't know, orange. Really ugly orange. And we wanted it to be very chalky. And we can take that and go bloop. And now we've got a metallic green box and a chalky yellow box. So that's pretty cool. But not where we're stopping, because that's not fun enough. So I'm going to go ahead and undo these, because I really don't care about metallic or roughness. That was just for the example. But we want to keep base color checked, which means it can be changed. Isn't a normal material with parameters the same? Yes and no. The reason you use dynamic material instances is because you can change them on the fly through the details pane here. With a regular just material with parameters, you don't really get that option. You have to go into, like, I don't know if it actually shows up on the details pane here, or if you have to do it all through blueprints or anything like that. So I think you can use a normal material with parameters like that, but at least in my mind, it seems like it's a better option to do it in here. That way, if you want multiple instances of it, you can change them without actually having to directly change and compile the original material. That's the primary purpose for what I'm doing. Okay, so we're going to create an actor. We're going to call this Lightpeg. Lightpeg is just going to be a cylinder. And as you can see, it creates our nice little cylinder. We can put one in the level. And we'll go ahead and do this for the first example portion. And then we want to change this material. And you can do that one of two ways. You can either drag and drop the material, or what I like to do is I'm going to go dynamic material instance right there. So the next portion takes a little bit of setup, because you got to make sure that you're telling the cylinder that it has a dynamic material. So you come into the construction script so that anytime it's built, this happens. Grab a copy of your, in this case, the cylinder. We're going to type in dynamic, and as soon as you type that in, it comes up create dynamic material instance. Boom. So this next part is a little important, not for our case, but just general practices. Element index, this is going to determine which part of your material is changed. Like if you have multiple materials on a mesh, this will determine which one is getting set. In our case, we only have one material, so we're just going to set it to 0 and leave source alone, because it only has one material, so it knows exactly which one you're trying to get. And we're going to make this a little bit easier on us for later by going promote to variable, because frankly I don't want to have to sit here and try to cast and call and do all kinds of ridiculous shit. Not casting is the wrong word. You don't actually cast inside of a self actor. That's stupid. But you get what I'm saying. So we're going to call this material. Now, we have a couple different ways we can do this. I am going to do it through mouse click because of what we're doing for now. Enable inputs. And I actually don't know if this part is necessary. I do it just because I like to be safe and make sure, hey, I can actually click this, and this is literally saying, hey, you can accept inputs. I don't think it's necessary because I think the next portion is just a reaction as opposed to accepting input, but on clicked. So event actor on clicked, which is literally you take the mouse and you click the actor. Amazing. And we're going to do a switch on int. And I've got a couple different things we're going to do here. 5 for now. And we're going to do set vector parameter value. Now in this case, it's just because it's a constant 3 vector that we need to get the vector parameter. If you wanted to change like the roughness or something, you would change the scalar parameter. Okay, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Plug this into all of them. This is going to look a little bit ugly, but it's okay. We can always clean it up later. And what we want is to go ahead and get each of these. So, first color, let's go with a good solid, well, sorry, we want 2. That way it's actually in the emissive quality. We're going to give this one a 2. We're going to give this one a 2 and this one a 2. Also, I forgot to change to make sure. Oh, I guess because we did that. Okay. Gotcha. That's interesting. That's something new I didn't know. If you set an emissive style, like over 1 is considered emissive because you're oversaturating the color, then you don't have to touch the value key here, which goes from 0 to 1 scale. I did not know that. That is something I literally learned 2 seconds ago. Let's see. Give that a nice blue, and then we're going to return this one to white. And then we need one more thing. So this portion is kind of like the easy portion. Setup. Going to get an integer. Call it switch. Set. Plug all of them into the same set because you don't need multiples of this thing, since they're all going to do the same thing. Now this part, go ahead and do switch. So it's going to be equal to the switch value. That way it goes through this. Get integer plus integer, which I'm on 4.7.5, so this hasn't changed yet. In 4.8, this automatically populates with 1. I've just been too lazy to update. And then I'm going to do what's called modulo. And what modulo is going to do is it takes whatever value you put into it and checks to see if it is less than, basically it goes up to a certain point, and once you are about to hit that point, it resets back to the first number, which in this case will be 0. So what we want, we have 4 numbers, so we want to give this a 5. So as soon as it hits 5, it's going to go back to 0. Alright. So now we can test it. Come in here, and it is not accepting.